Hi everyone, this is Heather from weddingsbyheather.com, where my goal is to provide you with the best techniques and tips to make you a better and more efficient photographer. In this video, we're going to take a look at the graduated filter inside of Lightroom. But first, make sure you check out all of the free resources available on my website. I took this photograph of my friend Mickey a few weeks ago for her maternity session, and out of the camera, it looked like this, which was pretty unimpressive in terms of lighting and tonality, if you ask me. And in the next couple of videos, we will take it from this before to this after with some pretty quick techniques. So I'm going to start by saying that the first thing I like to do to all of my images is add a preset that my friend Leanne created. I'll put a link to her website below. She sent me this preset, and then I tweaked it a little bit more, and we named this the Image Perfector. And essentially what it does, I'll give you a look at the before and after, is it adds lens correction, a tone curve in order to improve tonality. It reduces noise and adds sharpening. And we actually apply this to every single photo that we take. And for more information on the preset, I'll post a link below. But I always start with it. And after I applied that preset, I noticed that this was lacking some light and exposure, but I didn't think pulling up on the exposure would give me the result that I wanted. In this photo, the sun was camera right, and I just want to bring a little bit more sun into the photo, and I'm going to do that using the graduated filter. You can access that tool by pressing M on your keyboard. Now, I'm not quite sure what settings I want to use for this yet. I know that I want to bring more light, so I'm going to pull up on the exposure a little bit and maybe up on the shadows, but I'm not quite sure what that's going to look like. So what I'm going to do is just click and drag this way with my mouse. And I have my mask overlay turned on so that I could see it. That's what the Ruby Light overlay is. If I press O on my keyboard, that will disappear. And if I press H, I can hide those pins so that now I can start to work with this image and see how much light I want to bring in from that side. So I'm going to pull up on the exposure a little bit more and up on the shadows. And in order to see the before and after of just this adjustment, you can click this little toggle switch down here, and I can see I'm adding a lot more light. It's obviously just light, and I kind of want it to have a little bit more warmth to it. So what I'm going to do is click in this color box, and I'm going to select a color that's sort of in the warm yellow range, maybe right about here. I'm just going to move that around a little bit to find the color that I like. And you'll really be able to see this more if you pull up on the saturation quite a bit. Now, obviously, I don't want it that saturated, so I'm going to bring it back down. And right about there looks like a pretty nice tone. And again, I'm going to just turn this off and on. And I like the way that's looking, but let's go ahead and pull down on the clarity a little bit just to soften it, because if we're emulating flare, we would want a lower contrast look to that side of the photo. I'm going to click and drag down from the top as well. If I press O, you'll be able to see my overlay right from there. That looks pretty good, maybe a little bit bright on that top right. So I'm going to pull down on the exposure there. I'm going to press H to show my pins. I'm going to select this first pin. I just want to have a little bit more light and warmth on her. And I'm going to pull up on that exposure. I'm going to press M in order to drop that tool and look at my overall before and after. And I think that looks really good. We're going to tackle a few more issues in the next video, namely the skin tone of her legs, as well as the overall exposure and color of the image. I'll see you then.